Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. After 7 days on the road, Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers return back home to Comerica Park. Cabrera batting a very solid .333 this year. Miggy can be found in the 3-hole again tonight, playing first base as we welcome you to Comerica Park. Game 1, Tigers and the Athletics. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad you're with us here tonight. The Tigers bats, well, they were pretty much silent on the West Coast, and because of that, Rod, Brad Ausmus has made a few changes tonight.
You know, really, Brad has tried to do whatever he can do to jumpstart the offense. Saturday in Los Angeles, they did not hit on the field. Today he has Iglesias batting second, and really, with Iglesias batting second now, Cespedes batting fourth, Miggy third, Ghost in that top spot. His best 4 hitters are bunched at the top of the lineup. Hopefully that's enough to generate some runs.
All right, Alfredo Simon will take the mound for the Tigers tonight, which brings us to our Bernstein advantage, the pitcher-batter matchup. Well, the Bernstein advantage certainly belongs to Alfredo Simon when you talk about what he's done in this ballpark.
Well, he has pitched very well here. He is 3-0 in this particular ballpark. His earned run average is under 1. As far as the earned run average is concerned, that's the best in Major League Baseball for a starter pitching in their home yard. He's had 10 days off. He had to go to the Dominican Republic. Let's hope he's not too strong today with that fastball. Let's hope he's not up in the strike zone so that real good splitter can work at the bottom of the zone.
All right, after a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam studios and check in with Johnny Kane. Coming up in this one tonight, the A's are in town. The Tigers, well, they beat them 2 out of 3 in Oakland. Hopefully more of the same the next 3 nights here. Tigers Athletics next. tonight for the Tigers. He is presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Simon was an all-star last year pitching for the Cincinnati Reds. He won a career-high 15 games, and he's off to an outstanding start right here at Comerica Park.
And so Simon set to go to work here. He'll face Billy Burns to start things off on a cool evening here at the ballpark. Tigers returning back home after a 7-game road trip. And Burns, the left-handed batting outfielder, stands in, and he looks at the first pitch of the ball game, ball 1.
Absolute must to keep Burns off the base paths. He's been energizing their offense lately. A lot of speed for Billy Burns.
Burns right now a 6-game hitting streak, batting .327. Simon with the 1-0 pitch, and it's lined foul, back out of play.
Burns has also had 4 multi-hit games in a row and paces all rookies in the majors with 14 multi-hit games.
Coco Crisp is out of the lineup with a bad neck. He's been on the disabled list. In the meantime, Burns has been filling in center field. And the speedy outfielder with a couple of home runs. Recently hit one off CC Sabathia the other night against the Yanks. Here's the 1-1. 2-1 on Burns.
It's been a while since Simon has been on the mound. His last start was against the Houston Astros, and it was on May 22nd, so it's been about 10 days in between starts for the big right-hander.
Simon ready with the 2-1 pitch. Lifted back out of play. Here's the rest of the lineup for the A's, presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You saw Burns. Zobrist and Vogt will follow. Billy Butler is DHing, followed by Reddick and Laurie. Muncy, Semien, and Sogard are the bottom 3 for the Athletics. 2-2 on Billy Burns. Showing bunt, and he bunts it foul with 2 strikes. That'll be a strikeout.
First time I've seen that in a long, long time. A guy attempt to bunt for a base hit with 2 strikes. Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health System. Left to right, you've got Cespedes, Ghost, and J.D. Martinez. Iglesias, Kinsler up the middle, and Castellanos and Miggy on the corner. James McCann, he is a catcher. Boy, he's been doing a really nice job behind the plate. And as a team, the Tigers collectively have been catching the baseball. They've only committed 22 errors as a team this year.
Been a really good defensive team all season long as the Tigers employ the shift here against Ben Zobrist. Third baseman Castellanos goes to the right field grass. Zobrist at 243. Spent some time on the DL this year. In fact, was just activated off the disabled list when the Tigers were in Oakland last week.
He got some big hits against his former teammate as well when he came off the disabled list, David Price. Singled and doubled against David.
In for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike on Zobrist. He was just 2 out of 12 in that series that the A's just completed against the Yankees. Oakland winning 3 out of 4. Missed low. They want the appeal, but he did not go, says Greg Gibson.
Believe it or not, that's the last time the A's won a series at home. You'd have to go all the way back to September of last year before they just beat the Yankees in the 3-4 in Oakland.
He's off to a 20-33 start this season. They have not played good baseball by and large. Now Simon with the 2-1 pitch. Checked it high. 3-1 on Zobrist.
Simon has about 5 different pitches. The 4-seam fastball you just saw there upstairs at 93. The overwhelming majority of his pitches, and his best pitch is probably his split finger fastball. He'll also cut the fastball. He's got a curveball. He also has a slider and an eephus pitch to go along with those other 4 I just mentioned.
There's a walk to Zobrist. 1 on and 1 out. First base runner of the ball game for the Athletics, and that'll bring up their best hitter this year, Stephen Vogt. With these numbers, has headed to the All-Star game. 322, 11 bombs this year.
He's got an OPS over 1,000. He's got a lot of pull power. And if you're Simon, you want to make him utilize left field. And that's why the Tigers play the shift on Vogt. It's amazing that he's having the kind of success that he's had this year. And he is a dead pull hitter. Look at all of his big flies this year.
Ball 1 to Vogt. Tigers have moved Castellanos back to his third base spot, but they still played a pull with Iglesias back up almost behind the bag on Vogt. Runner at first, Zobrist, one stolen base this year. Tigers coming off a series with the Angels who would just as soon forget they were swept, and therefore they come in 4 games over now at 28-24. Simon trying to get him back on track. .1-0 is high, 2 balls and no strikes. Again, as Rod mentioned, it's been a while since Simon has been on the hill. On the 22nd against Houston, his last start. Then he went on the bereavement list with the passing of his father and has just rejoined the ball club. .2-0 to Vogt is high, 3 balls and no strikes. Gave you the numbers at the top of the show. Alfredo with a 0.94 ERA here at home. He has just made himself at home in his new ballpark. First year with the Tigers. Tigers got him in December. Eugenio Suarez and Jonathan Crawford, a pitching prospect, were dealt to the Reds. .30 is outside. He walks Vogt on 4 straight, and there are 2 on now with 1 out. We'll bring an early visit now from the pitching coach, Jeff Jones. So meeting on the mound now with Jones headed out to try and put Simon back on track. By the way, it's a Fox Sports Detroit Prize Pack Tuesday brought to you by Meijer. Enter at www.foxsportsdetroit.com and you'll be eligible to win a fantastic prize pack that any baseball fan would love. Simon has walked as many as 4. He has done that in a couple of starts, but for the most part, his control has been really good.
His concentration now with Billy Butler standing in the batter's box should be at the bottom of the strike zone. Butler has been an outstanding hitter in his career against Tigers pitching, but he is prone to hitting into double plays. Right now, he leads their team, grounding into 8 twin killings already this season.
Billy at 261. He has Zobrist and Vogt aboard. And Butler looks at strike 1.
Oakland probably playing their best baseball right now. They've won 6 of their last 9, but as Mario mentioned, they come in 13 games under 500, and really no one takes you serious until you get to the 500 mark.
Butler, one of the big acquisitions in the offseason for the Athletics, coming over from the Royals. Billy lines one foul to left field.
That visit by Jeff Jones probably went out to tell Simon to use a few more off-speed pitches. In the first 3 hitters, he was fastball heavy, and that's not the norm for Simon. About 30 to 35% of the pitches that he throws in any outing are usually split-fingered fastballs, and he's already thrown a couple of those to Butler.
0-2 on the DH. Billy Butler, he's hit safely in his last 3. And he sends one off the end of the bat right back to the mound. Simon has 1 play. He'll get the out at first base. Runners advance, and there are 2 gone. It'll take a 2-out hit now from Reddick to get the A's on the board. Josh Reddick stands in at 302. 31 RBIs this year for the A's.
And most of his damage done at home. But the RBI column, and pretty even for Reddick.
Sends one high in the air, deep into right field. Back to the corner goes J.D. Martinez. He's going to have room, and that'll end the inning. No runs, couple of walks, but Simon is able to strand 2. Lead it off in the Tigers lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Ghosts in the leadoff slot, followed by Iglesias batting second tonight. Then Cabrera and Cespedes. Kinsler has been bumped down to fifth, followed by J.D. Martinez. You got Tyler Collins, Nick Castellanos, and James McCann. And your bottom three, and they are facing the offerings of Kendall Graveman.
Graveman's got a lot of sink on his fastball. He'll get up to 93, but his average heater right about 92. Tigers need to make him get it up in the strike zone. In 6 starts this year, he checks in with an ERA close to 6, 2 wins and 2 losses.
So Ghost digs in against Graveman. Here's the first pitch, and it's rolled toward the first baseman, foul.
He also has a changeup that he will throw quite a bit to the left-handed batters. He doesn't use the changeup all that often to righties. He will throw the curveball to the lefties and the righties about 4 to 5% of the time. But most of what Graveman features are 2-seam fastballs and cutters.
Anthony Ghost at .314 this year, 1 home run. He's knocked in 11. And it's a bouncer to third on the backhand there. Brett Laurie has it.
Let's take a look at the Oakland Athletics starting defense. It's brought to you by Tim Horton. Sopris, Burns, Reddick in the outfield. Simeon, Sogard, Muncy, Laurie in the infield. Stephen Vogt's the catcher. 52 errors already this season, 8 more than any other team in baseball. Their shortstop, Marcus. He has committed 18 of 52.
So here is Iglesias, who is batting in the 2-hole for just the 2nd time this year. Brad Ausmus mixing it up a little bit.
Well, the top 4 hitters here today, and Ghost, Iglesias, Mickey, and Cespedes pretty much have been the hottest hitters, I would say, all year for the Tigers consistently.
I would agree with that. Iglesias certainly has been one of them. He's hit safely in his last 6 consecutive games. Bouncing ball again to third base. Laurie knocks it down. And there are 2 gone. A couple of grounders to third. Hey, by the way, stay tuned for Tigers Live following our game. We'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by the 2 for $5 mix or match filet of fish and 10-piece McNuggets. So at 2 outs, here is Cabrera. Graveman already getting a couple of ground balls. Kendall stands 6'2", 185, born in Alexander City, Alabama. 24-year-old. Came over along with Brett Laurie in that Josh Donaldson deal in November. And Cabrera looks at a strike, 1-1. Miggy has hit safely in his last 3. Had just 5 hits, though, on the road trip. And he shoots that one in the air to right field. Reddick is on the move, still going back to the wall, leaps, runs into the wall, and holds onto the baseball. Terrific running play by Josh Reddick. When we come back, the commissioner, Rob Manfred, will join us in the booth. That's next. And also the commissioner of baseball, Mr. Rob Manfred, has decided to join us here in the booth for the second inning. We're grateful for that. And Mr. Commissioner, first of all, welcome to town. Welcome to the Motor City. Talk about your little tour here that you've been on with all the big league parks.
Well, I've been trying to get out and speak to the players on each of the 30 clubs, give them a chance to get to know me a little bit, and hopefully get comfortable with the idea that they have a new commissioner.
Well, we want to talk about a lot of things, obviously, and I'm sure you've heard these questions over and over. But one of the big things that I think a lot of people talk about, Commissioner, is the pace of play. Your thoughts on how those initiatives have gone?
Well, we're very pleased with the early returns on pace of play. I think the most important thing is that we've had great cooperation from the players. I think if you watch the way the players have behaved, they're really trying to work with us on this topic. And obviously, anything you try to accomplish on the field begins and ends with the players.
Mr. Commissioner, I know for a number of years, baseball has tried to get the youth back involved in the game, get the kids back interested in the game so we don't lose generations of our young people to baseball. What steps are being taken now to try to encourage the younger people to get back into baseball?
Well, we're focused on two different areas. First of all, we think a key to interesting young people in the game is participation, actually playing the game as young people. And so we're trying to work with some really good partners like Little League to make sure that baseball's as competitive in the youth participation space as it possibly can be. And then the second prong of the approach relates to getting the demographic where we're strong, parents and grandparents to bring their kids to the ballpark. It makes a huge difference if a kid gets into the ballpark when he's 8 years old as opposed to when he's 15. And we got a number of programs, a lot of them being run locally, encouraging parents to get their kids in the ballpark early.
Commissioner, I wanted to ask you about that because, you know, obviously the young kids are the key to the future of the game and growing the game. But is there one thing that you think, is it the pace of game that maybe is not attracting kids like you would get in other sports?
I think there are a number of things you have to focus on when you try to be more competitive with young people. I do think the pace of the game is an issue. I think it's really important that we use our technology resources, particularly in conjunction with our broadcast, to attract young people. We have a great new product that we've used on the MLB Network. Fox used it in its national broadcast last week called StatCast. And it gives young people the type of information that we think they're very interested in having. And it's important because it helps people understand better what's going on the field. It's not a distraction from the game. We see it as an enhancement of the game.
You know, talk about pace of play for just a moment, and also the instant replay, which was pretty much instituted last season. And where are you as far as that's concerned? I do know the Oakland Athletics just a couple of days ago, they played a game that lasted only 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I know that's good for the numbers. But where are you overall with what's going on in those two areas?
Well, I see those two areas as related. I think that both instant replay and the pace of game initiative are efforts on our part to be responsive to what we're hearing from our fans. Our fans wanted us to use technology to get calls right, and that's why we went to the expanded replay system. Similarly, we heard from fans, you know, you got a 3:02 average game, that's too long, and, you know, the games are dragging a little bit, and what we're trying to do is just tighten up the play a little bit, again, to be responsive to what the fans want.
Well, the numbers we just showed, Commissioner, it's down to 2:53 for the average time of game this year. Is there a specific time or a specific area that you're trying to get games to?
Well, I really want to be down this year from the 3:02 that we were at last year. I've been reluctant to set a particular number. I will say that we're down almost 10 minutes this year. I think that's very good. I think more importantly, the people in our baseball operations group that are out there observing games every day are uniform in the view that the play is just a little crisper than it was last year, and I think that's equally important.
What is the number one question that you have been asked since taking over as commissioner?
Well, if you're talking about volume, that's easy. It's what are you going to do about Pete Rose? That is the number one question.
Yeah. Well, you took my last question away.
Well, there you go. We can do it now.
And what do you think about Pete Rose now that we have you on there?
Well, I think that, you know, the Major League Constitution is clear. There are certain rules in it. There's a very clear rule about gambling. but there's also a rule that gives a player in Mr. Rose's situation, former player, the opportunity to apply for reinstatement. And what I think is I need to get conversant with all the facts from the original investigation, give Mr. Rose an opportunity to tell me whatever he thinks I should know about what's happened since that time, and then I'll make a decision.
Chatting with Rob Manfred, the new commissioner of Major League Baseball, who's making a tour of all of the different ballparks, and he's making a stop here at Comerica Park, and we're talking a little Tigers baseball and Major League Baseball, some of the issues that he's confronted early on in his tenure as the commissioner.
Overall, you have to be really pleased with parity of the game. The Minnesota Twins, what they're able to do this year, the Houston Astros, what they're able to do this year, and some of the other teams that really weren't thought of participating at a high level this year, but they've competed.
Well, I think that when you talk about the health of the game, it's always important to start with competitive balance, because at the end of the day, what we sell is competition, and the teams you alluded to are just great examples of the competitive balance we have in the game right now.
Commissioner, can we have you join us for another half inning?
I'd be happy to stay for another half.
We'll be back with Rob Manfred here at Comerica Park. Athletics and the Tigers, joined by Rob Manfred, the new commissioner of Major League Baseball, who has decided to spend a few moments with us here in the booth, and we certainly appreciate that, Commissioner. And you know, there are a lot of things that we could talk about, and you mentioned, I'm sure you get a lot of different questions, but the one thing that I always get is, when are both leagues going to either have the DH or not have the DH? Your thoughts on the DH?
Well, you know, I hate to say this because I'm going to disappoint you, but I'm a status quo person on the DH. The difference in the rules between the two leagues has never bothered me. I think it's a great source of conversation among fans, and I'm a believer in the idea when you're talking about baseball, it's a good thing for all of us.
Any thoughts of expanding baseball? I know Montreal, and a lot of people are asking you questions about Montreal, but do you ever think Montreal could handle another baseball franchise?
Well, I think Montreal's done a very good job with the couple of exhibition games they've had each of the last 2 years. You know, they drew over 95,000 people for 2 dates 2 years in a row. Montreal's a great city. It's big population-wise, good TV market. And I think it's good for the game to have areas that want Major League Baseball that don't currently have it.
Ian Kinsler batting here with 1 out of the second, chatting with Rob Manfred, the new commissioner of Major League Baseball. And Rob, one of the things we've seen different in the ball game this year and in the game in itself this year, and you've had an opinion on this, is shifts. A lot of teams are certainly shifting toward the shift. Your opinions on those?
Well, it's interesting. I speculated about eliminating defensive shifts and learned a little bit of a lesson about that early on. I have to say, it shows the strength of our game, I think.
Right.
I receive so much thoughtful input on the issue of shifts. I mean, I literally had people who sent me papers with footnotes explaining why we should leave defensive shifts as they are. It was really unbelievable, the response that I got. You know, overall, where we are with respect to offense in the game is we're watching the trends. We haven't even decided whether we really have a downward trend in offense that needs to be addressed. And if and when we do, we'll start to talk about remedies like the shift.
Last question here, and we have to be quick with it. How cool is it for you to have your autograph on the baseball these days?
Well, it's really a neat thing to look down and realize that Major League Baseball players are using a ball with my name. I have to tell you that. It really is a cool thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, Commissioner, you have ties to the state of Michigan, don't you?
I do. My wife grew up in Birmingham. Her father still lives here. She has a bunch of cousins here, so we actually have been here for a few days visiting family. And, you know, I'm very fond of the Detroit area as a result of the fact that my wife's from here.
I must say, we saw you on Twitter. You had a ball game the other day, a Little League game. Is that what it was?
I was actually, it was a CYO game.
Ah, okay.
It was a CYO game, which actually was a really interesting youth baseball experience. They were using a diamond with dimensions between the Little League diamond and the full-size diamond, which I thought was interesting. And they also started each batter with a 1-1 count, which I'd never seen before. Yeah.
Talk about pace of play. That's pretty good.
Right.
That wouldn't happen in the big leagues, though, would it?
No, I don't think so. But it did move the game along. I'll give them that.
How about the labor piece in the game right now? I mean, it's really been good lately. I mean, I know you expect it to be a smooth lead going forward.
Well, you know, we've worked very hard over a long period of time to develop a really positive relationship with the MLBPA, and we're hopeful that, as with the last 3 times, we'll be able to work our way through that agreement.
Commissioner, it's always great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck with the rest of your visit here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Really enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, his thoughts here at Comerica Park. Still a scoreless ball game. Top of the third here at Comerica. The Tigers and Athletics starting up this 3-game series. Scoreless game right now. Simon goes back to work. First pitch grounded sharply to first base, and Cabrera takes care of Sogard. 1 gone. Well, our thanks to Rob Manfred, the new commissioner of Major League Baseball, making his rounds around the major leagues, and a stop here in the Motor City. It was nice to have him stop by. And nice to get his thoughts on the future out of the game.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
Well, here is Billy Burns now with 1 out. Looks like Alfredo Simon has worked out his issues from the first inning when he walked a couple of batters. He struck out the sign in the second. And he throws ball 1 to Burns. 4 strikeouts now for Alfredo against his 2 walks. Here's the 1-0. Checked it. Strike called by home plate umpire.
Good two-seam fastball there thrown by Simon at 93 miles an hour. Burns thought that ball was inside, but the natural movement on the pitch allowed it to come down in the inside corner right at the knees. That's an outstanding, well-located pitch, and a really nice job of framing it by the rookie catcher, James McCann.
2-1 the count. It's one of the areas, Rob, that Avila is so highly thought of in pitch framing. Do you see McCann improving in that area?
Absolutely. I think James is doing wonderful work behind the plate. The pitchers are really starting to trust him.
So chopper to the second baseman. Right there is Kinsler. 2 up, 2 down here in the third. Game break time. Here's Mickey York. It's about as good as it gets, Mick. Thanks very much.
Yeah, someone has to slow those Minnesota Twinkies down.
No doubt. Twins, well, got to be the surprise of this division. They are in first place coming into play tonight.
They might be the surprise of Major League Baseball right now.
Well, I had Houston in that spot, but now I'm changing. And it's ever evolving. But, yeah, there's no question. I mean, when you talk about the Twins who were just hammered by the Tigers here in the first 3 games of the year.
They've played outstanding baseball at home under their new manager, Paul Molitor. Real nice leadership skills shown by Torrey Hunter, which we all knew because he spent 2 years here in a Tigers uniform.
30 wins by the Twins, the second most in the AL, behind Houston's 32. 2 balls, no strikes on Zobrist. 2-1. Zobrist had 1 of the 2 walks in the first inning, but no hits so far. Given up by Simon. In fact, neither team has a hit. Zobrist just a couple of hits in that series they just completed against the Yankees. The 2-1 is on the ground, foul. Zobrist, as you know by now, a very versatile player, can play all over the diamond. Second, he's played left, he's played right. He has DH'd this year.
Oakland will get quite a few calls on Zobrist when the trade deadline approaches July 31st, and because of the multiple positions that he can play. And he's a good player.
Swing and a miss, and Alfredo Simon continues to cruise along. He has retired 8 consecutive batters, and that is his 5th strikeout of the night. When it's time, come to Comerica. By Dodge, come discover great deals during the Dodge Drive and Discover event. And by Johnsonville, sausage is all we can do. Back here at Comerica Park, it's turned into a nice night for baseball here. The Tigers and the Athletics are scoreless as the Tigers come to the plate here in the bottom of the third. Collins, Castellanos, and McCann against the right-hander Graveman. First at bat of the ball game for Tyler Collins, who has hit safely in his last 3. Collins at 261. Graveman's 1-0. Back up the middle into center field, base hit. Tigers have the first hit of this ball game today. Hey, by the way, see the Tigers play these A's tomorrow at 7:08 and get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 bags of chips, and 4 drinks, all for just $19 per person. It's the weekday value pack. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. So we'll see if the Tigers now can do with this leadoff base hit. Castellanos batting in the 8th slot in this one tonight. Ball 1 to Nick, who is batting .228. Castellanos has fallen off a bit in terms of batting average, only 3 for his last 22 at bats.
And with all the ground balls that Graveman throws, this might not be a bad opportunity to put a hit and run on, especially the way that Castellanos has been struggling. You kind of force a guy into swinging the bat, you take all the guesswork out of it, and really all he has to do is simply put it in play on the ground somewhere.
Castellanos had a total of 3 hits on the road trip, was hitless in the series against the Angels.
He did not play on Sunday night and got the night off, which means that Castellanos, along with his other teammates, should be really refreshed here after having yesterday off as a team after the West Coast trip.
Three balls, no strikes, and Nick looks at ball 4, and now the Tigers have something brewing here.
I don't know what Brad is thinking here with James McCann stepping to the plate, but James McCann can handle the bunt, and he can get a bunt down when asked to do so.
Well, it would seem to be the call here. We'll see if Brad is thinking along those lines. Offense has had trouble getting runs in. McCann at 278. Leadoff single by Collins, a walk to Castellanos. McCann showing bunt, lays it down the third base line. Nicely done. That'll advance the runners.
You don't see a lot of catchers that have this kind of technique as far as bunting the baseball. The ball's down in the strike zone, so you bend the knees, you get down to it, and you just soften it. It's like catching the baseball with your glove, and he lays it down perfectly down third base, which opens up third base for the base runner there, Collins, to get over to third. Outstanding technique shown by James McCann.
McCann, a couple of sacrifice bunts. Here's a bunt by Gose. Now they got the runner caught between third and home. That's Collins. Graveman will run him back. And Collins will be tagged out, leaving runners at second and third.
Boy, if the Tigers didn't have any bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck at all right now.
So Gose reaching on the fielder's choice. Castellanos goes to third.
It's one of the things that I've noticed as the Tigers have struggled to score runs. When they do get themselves in a situation where they can drive in a run, seems like guys are trying to do a little bit too much. And the way that Anthony has been swinging the bat all year long, that might have been a situation where you go ahead and swing the bat instead of bunting the baseball.
Fielder's choice allows Gose to reach 1-5-2 on the putout of Tyler Collins. Here is Iglesias now in search of a 2-out hit. In there for strike 1. Jose bounced out his first time up. Rolled foul at home plate, 0-2.
And Tigers could use a 2-out, a base hit in the worst way to get themselves on the board. Relax a little bit.
It's probably the key word right there, Rod. Relax a little bit, because I think there were times in that Anaheim series where it looked like they were pressing a bit.
For sure.
Nice little lead. Would be nice early in the game. Iglesias backs out of there 1-2.
A lot of late life on that two-seam fastball at 91 thrown by Graveman. He's got a heavy sinker. Anywhere from 89 to 92 miles an hour.
Checked it outside, 2-2. Graveman is only 24. Had a really good spring camp. In fact, he had an ERA of 0.36 in spring training.
His last 2 starts have been pretty good, too. Oakland has won both of his last 2 starts. And he's only given up 3 earned runs in his last 11 2/3 innings. So he's pitching some pretty good baseball after starting the season in the big leagues and being sent down.
Yeah, he was the number 4 starter coming out of spring training based on his spring numbers as you look at what he's done with runners on and the bases empty. But did not pitch well early, and now since he's come back has done well. There's a ground ball to third. Gobbled up there by Laurie. And that is that. So the Tigers waste an opportunity, and we played 3 here at Comerica. The Royals, and it's baseball night in America with an AL Central showdown. Tigers face the White Sox. Coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. Meanwhile, here we go to the 4th inning now in a scoreless game. Tigers and Athletics in the start of the 3-game series. Stephen Vogt leads it off, facing Alfredo Simon.
And Simon walked Vogt's first time up here this evening on 4 straight pitches, and he is yet to throw him a strike. And in reality, he's the one guy in this order that you want to stay away from. You cannot allow Vogt to beat you with the 11 home runs and 38 driven in. He has been their best offensive performer.
Now Simon's 1-0. In some ways, Rod, kind of a surprise because Vogt already has career highs in homers, RBIs.
Right. One of those kinds of years for Steven. He'll make an all-star team this year.
It's only June and he's already surpassed those marks. Here's the 2-0 pitch. A good rip there, fouled it back. 11 home runs this year, a career high. And 13 homers in 149 games entering this year.
And all 11 of his home runs have gone to the pool field, and 8 of the 11 away from the Coliseum in Oakland.
2-2, the count on Stephen Vogt.
And that split-fingered fastball the last couple of innings. And Simon has really found a nice feel for the pitch, and he's located it beautifully at the bottom of the zone. That one at about 86 miles an hour.
Got the benefit of that last call. Here's the 2-2. Bouncing in 3-2 on Stephen Vogt. So because of the walks that he had in the first inning, a couple of them, the pitch count is up to 50 now here in the fourth. He's still in good shape.
And the ratio not all that good. 26 strikes, 24 balls of the 50 thrown by Alfredo.
Three-two pitch. Lifted back out of play.
Stephen Vogt drove in all three of the Athletics' runs on Sunday against the Yankees. They took 3 of 4 from the New York Yankees. They won that series.
Seemingly they got a little push in, despite the fact that they lost 2 out of 3 to the Tigers in that series. Tigers really didn't hit all that well.
And Tigers won a couple of games and only scored 4 runs in those wins against the Athletics.
Now again, the full count pitch. Into the glove for strike 3. Vogt is out. There's 6 strikeouts now for Simon. Here's our T-Mobile game changer. That would be Mr. Billy Butler. Active opponents in Comerica Park, playing a minimum of 50 games. And you see Butler is third on that list.
He's done some damage.
Only David DeJesus and Ichiro Suzuki have had higher batting averages in this park.
Billy Butler is the only right-hander of the group.
Fouled off 0-1. Billy hit one right off the end of the bat his first time up, right back to the mound. He's 0 for 1. Butler came into this one batting just .210 in his last 45 games after getting off to a pretty good start in an A's uniform. Driven foul, now 0-2. Simon has retired 9 straight. He has 6 strikeouts. Tigers are 5-2 this year in Alfredo starts. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Inside, 1-2.
Another one of those splitters.
2-2 on Butler.
And an excellent job by the rookie catcher James McCann to get over and block it. Whenever you call for that pitch, you have to assume that it's going to bounce. So you have to be ready to move laterally and get down to make sure that you can smother it. And James McCann has done that this evening.
Butler takes another one outside of the strike zone, 3-2. 7 strikeouts, the season high against the Yankees on April 20th for Alfredo Simon. He is 1 shy of that. And we're only in the 4th inning. Grounded foul. Butler, as a member of the Royals last year, really had a big game in that wild card game, which eliminated the Oakland Athletics. Billy had a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs. Lo and behold, here he is wearing A's colors this year. Royals decided not to exercise his option. Simon again with the 3-2. And again, rolled foul.
Yeah.
Butler staying alive. Neither team has a run as we play in the 4th inning. Simon has been given about 3.5 runs per game of run support, which is among the, well, actually it is the lowest among Tiger starters. Butler fouls off another. This is turning into a lengthy battle.
Simon made an all-star team last year. He won 15 games for the Cincinnati Reds, and really his first year as a starter in the big leagues through 196 innings. And you can argue that he's probably been the most consistent starter in the rotation since the beginning of the season up until this point.
I'd agree. His numbers up and down have been really, really consistent. Here's the 9th pitch in this at bat. And it's drilled in the air toward left center field. Ghosts converging with Cespedes, who runs in front and makes the catch.
Not a whole lot going to drop in the outfield, especially on the side where Cespedes and Ghosts are. Both guys have really good speed in the outfield. And Ghosts has a lot of range to cover, but Cespedes calls him off and makes the play.
Two down here in the 4th inning. It'll bring up Josh Reddick. Flied out his first time up. Strike one on Reddick.
A lot of good two-seam fastballs thrown by Simon here to the left-handed batter. Swing back fashion at about 93 with some late life on them.
Tigers shifting defensively. Here's the 0-1.
And there's the first eephus pitch of the evening thrown by Simon. 71 miles an hour.
Now 1-2.
If you missed the top of the show, we told you that he has done his best work right here at Comerica Park. He has no blemishes as far as the losses are concerned. He's 1-3, and the ERA is under 1. And the Tigers desperately need another performance like that this evening if they're going to stop their 4-game skid.
That'll bounce in. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Reddick. Tigers hit just 208 on that last road trip. That was certainly part of the problem. Fred Laurie waiting on deck. They made a 3-game stop in Oakland, a 4-game stop in Anaheim to take on the Angels. Now Simon with the 2-2. High again. He goes to a 3-ball count. 3-2. Reddick had a couple of stints on the DL last year. McCann flashing the signs. And he walked him. So that'll stop the string of 10 straight that had been retired. And it's the 3rd walk in the game now for Simon.
Have no problem with the way that Simon continues to maneuver his way through this batting order of the Oakland Athletics. The guys you want to stay away from are Reddick and also Vogt. You really don't have to allow those guys to beat you, especially if there's no traffic on the base path. Simply let them go to first base, and then you work on the right-handers. He's been outstanding this year against right-handed batters.
So Laurie stands in now. He struck out back in the 2nd. And he looks at ball 1. Alfredo, I don't think, liked that last call. He had a little bit of a look in for Chad Fairchild. Pretty close. Simon with a little stop and stare. 2-0 on Brett Laurie.
Here's why he really doesn't have to pitch to a lot of these lefties today. You have to go after the right-handers, make sure you dominate them, which he has done this year. They're only hitting 173 against him. That's why it was no problem walking Reddick there.
Well, he's gone 2-0 on Laurie. 3-0 on Laurie.
Laurie probably has the green light to swing 3-0 should Simon throw him a fastball that is right down the middle. He has homered 4 times this year.
All of a sudden, the pitch count has jumped to 70. It's a 25-pitch 4th inning.
It's one of the things the Tigers bullpen had to do a lot of on that last road trip. They had to pitch a lot of innings.
See if he swings here on 3-0. Laurie just 4 for his last 24 at bats. He'll take it's ball 4, and that's a pair of walks with 2 outs. 4 base on balls, which brings Jeff Jones out again. Last time he made a visit out to the mound, Simon went on to retire 10 straight. Well, 5 years ago today in this ballpark, many of you may have been here and may have remembered the almost perfect game. Here's Armando Galarraga. Remember this? Jason Donald, Galarraga covering, and Jim Joyce called him safe.
And the smile on Galarraga's face kind of illustrates just how cool, calm, and collected he was the entire afternoon against the Cleveland Indians batters.
Jim Joyce in the ballpark tonight. He is at second base.
How about that? In the ballpark for the 5-year anniversary.
Yeah, I don't think they planned it that way. Just worked out that way. And there is ball 1 to Max Muncy.
It's unfortunate for Jim Joyce, as good an umpire as he is and has been throughout his long, and I mean long, major league career. That's probably what he will be remembered for.
Here's the 1-0 to Muncy. And here's a strike in the outer edge, 1-1.
I've known Jim Joyce since my minor league days as a player. He's a good man, but he felt horrible about missing that call. Too bad instant replay wasn't in play then.
Yep, that really would have cleared a whole lot of things up. Would have prevented a lot of anguish for both sides. It's the 1-1. Outside, 2-1. So Simon struggling with throwing strikes here. Walks to Reddick and Laurie. And he's gone behind Max Muncy after retiring the first 2 batters here in the 4th.
And 235 hitters become 335 hitters when they're sitting on fastballs in 2-1 counts. If Simon decides to throw Muncy one here.
Here's the 2-1. Checked it. Strike call.
Good pitch. Off speed. Muncy clearly looking for the fastball in. Couldn't hold up. There's that split-fingered fastball grip. Simon's got those long fingers, which makes it no problem for him to really get on top of that ball and get the downward movement that he needs to get the swings and misses that he has gotten on that pitch so far tonight.
Did he go? Negative. Tigers thought he did. McCann made the tag just in case.
Greg Gibson down at third today. Said no, Muncy didn't swing.
Good call. So again, Alfredo has gone to a 3-2 count.
Two outs. Runners will be on the move.
Marcus Semien waiting on deck. They have Reddick and Laurie on the base paths. And now Simon wants his catcher out to the mound. It's been a 31 pitch inning for Alfredo Simon. And he walked him. That's going to load the bases. 3 straight walks after the first 2 were retired. It's going to be a total of 5 walks now. And there goes the telephone. Brad Ausmus getting on the horn out to the bullpen. So look at someone stirring. Simon's pitch count now stands at 77 here in the fourth. Now Semien stands in. Alfredo has missed on 11 of his last 13 pitches. Way outside, 1-0.
Oakland has done a little bit better job in this particular inning of laying off some of the pitches they were swinging at earlier in the game. They are forcing now Simon to throw strikes, which he's had difficult time of doing. And Semien is an outstanding fastball hitter. He's got a quick bat.
Struck out in the second. High fly ball right field. That'll send Martinez on the move. JD still going back. Warning track in front of the wall to make the catch. Well, it took a while, but Simon finally got out of the inning, and they leave the bases loaded. Play against Cabrera up against the wall and held on to the baseball.
Reddick is a really good defender in right field. He won a Gold Glove back in 2012.
So it'll be Cabrera, Cespedes, and Kinsler facing the right-handed Graveman. First one is in there for a strike on Miggy. Been on base in 20 consecutive ball games. .332 batting average right now. Ball high, 1-1. Cabrera leads the American League in on-base percentage, intentional walks. Shoots one to right field off the end of the bat, base hit. So for the second straight inning, the Tigers get the leadoff man on.
Miguel Cabrera has now reached base safely in the last 21 consecutive games, either hit or base on balls. A little spinner up there, breaking ball thrown by Graveman that didn't do a whole lot. Kind of floated east to west in the strike zone, and Miguel Cabrera and just simply stayed with it. He kept that front shoulder locked and loaded in. He took that single the opposite way.
Well, the Tigers got runners at second and third with one out in the third, but failed to score. Cespedes is up there now with the leadoff man on. And Yoenis looks at a strike 0-1.
Big home run for Cespedes last week against his former team, the Athletics. It was a 3-run shot.
Of course, Yoenis was initially brought to the big leagues by the Athletics. Ball misses high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now here's that home run that he hit.
That series the Tigers played there, his first trip back since leaving the A's. He returned with a bang.
Fans really appreciated the work that Cespedes did there. They gave him several nice standing ovations.
Yeah, and the applause lasted all 3 games. Yoenis with 7 home runs. He's knocked in 28. Bouncing ball to first, and it's going to be out of the reach of Muncy into right field. Cabrera will go to second and stop there. And the Tigers again, first and second, nobody out.
Cespedes does not go down the right field line very often, but the pitch was down and away. It was at 91 miles an hour. He was just a little tardy on it. Able to hit it right past Muncy, who was holding Miggy on the bag. And here's proof that he doesn't get a lot of hits in that direction. Only 9 for Yoenis the opposite way. 32 to the pull field, and that's where all of his damage as far as power has been done.
Third Tigers hit as Kinsler lofts it into left. It's going to be playable and caught by Zobrist in the runner's hold. 1 out. So the struggles for Ian can continue. He was hitting .318 on May 18th.
And that's another one of those examples that I brought up last half inning when the Tigers were threatening. And they had some runners in scoring position. You might want to take a pitch or two. Just make that pitcher work a little bit harder. Goats, he tried to bunt for a hit on the very first pitch with a runner on third, less than 2 outs. That didn't work out. And Ian swung at a breaking ball there and was out in front of it and popped out with runners on first and second, nobody out.
Here's J.D. Martinez. J.D. bounced out his first time up 0 for 1. 6 hits in that series against the Angels. Fouls it straight back 1-1.
And most of that damage was done in the final couple of games. He didn't get off to a great start in the series, but picked it up.
Martinez this year just 191 with men in scoring position. Tigers trying to take advantage of a couple of hits to start things off here in the 4th. Fly ball left field. Zobrist coming in on this one. Oh, look out. 2 gone. Hey, the only way to get a 1945 replica road jersey is to visit tigers.com/jersey and buy a special package. You'll see the Tigers play the Cubs June 9th and 10th. Exclusive packages are available only at tigers.com/1945 jersey. So with 2 outs, here is Tyler Collins. Tyler had a single to start things off in the 3rd. Ball 1 high. Collins now has hit safely in 4 straight. And that is in there, 1-1. There's some thought that maybe with Daniel Fields being called up today that he might get an opportunity to play in this ball game, but Brad decided to go with Collins as the designated hitter in this one. There's Daniel.
Born and raised right here in Detroit, Michigan. He was leading the International League with 25 extra base hits, and for Mario, he really put himself on the map with his spring training this year.
Oh, I agree.
He was hitting for power, and Brad Osmond said as much, said he didn't realize that Daniel had that much power in his bat.
Daniel right now just taking it all in. Of course, this really is the first year he was totally healthy, which has made a big difference. Collins looks at it outside, 3-1.
I've known Daniel since he was a baby boy. Great friends with Bruce, his dad, Julie, his mom. Great family.
Brother Aaron played professionally as well, correct?
He did with Cleveland.
Will bounce in. Collins will get a walk. There were a bunch of roster moves today for the Tigers if you missed these. Of course, Alfredo was reinstated from the bereavement list starting tonight. Daniel Fields called up. Josh Wilson also had his contract purchased. And best of luck to the Rajai Davis family. Rajai placed on the paternity list. Buck Farmer optioned out. Hernan Perez placed on waivers and then eventually claimed by Milwaukee.
Graveman treated that last at bat to Tyler Collins like first base was open, even though third base was open. Castellanos struggling a bit, so he basically pitched right around Collins to load the bases to get to Castellanos.
Nick walked in the third. Batting .228. Tigers need a big hit right here. And Castellanos takes a strike in the count of 0-2. He didn't like that. Boy, that looked high. They are loaded up. Cabrera, Cespedes, and Collins. Just got a piece to stay alive. Nick going through it in the month of May, just .224 last month, so hopefully with the calendar turning to the month of June, he'll be able to turn things around. Graveman, meanwhile, trying to pitch out of a bases loaded situation here with 2 outs. No score in the fourth. Good pickup behind the plate there by Vogt. Holding Cabrera at third base. Oh, this one gets by Vogt. Here comes Cabrera. He's going to score, and the Tigers have the lead. 1-0 Detroit.
Better to be lucky than good sometimes.
Well, Vogt was able to stop the previous pitch, but not that one. It's a wild pitch.
It's a 92-mile-per-hour fastball thrown by Graveman, and as a catcher, really, you have no time to get over there because you're not anticipating the pitcher missing with his location that poorly. They were set up inside. He missed badly away at 92, and Vogt couldn't help him. I mean, he missed his location by a couple of feet.
Yeah, no shot there.
Yeah, might as well get a big hit.
And he stayed away again, and the count goes 3-2. McCann waiting on deck. Wild pitch has scored the first run of this ball game for either team. Two-out risk, pretty good for Nick. He'll shoot one into right field, base hit. That'll get 2 runs in. Castellanos comes up with a huge hit here in the fourth. Boy, did the Tigers need that.
It's a beautiful piece of hitting by Castellanos. It's at the bottom of the strike zone. It's a 2-seamer at 92, and he didn't try to do too much. He didn't overswing. He didn't stride. He was simply trying to put the ball in play and was very successful doing so, driving in 2 runs there. The Tigers lead 3-0 over the Athletics.
They've been searching for a base hit like that for about a week, and they finally got it from Castellanos, which gives Alfredo Simon a 3-0 lead.
It was also brought to my attention that Castellanos, no batting gloves in his first 2 at-bats here tonight, and maybe that's a new thing for him.
Here's McCann. Nick going old school on us, and it's worked. McCann looks at a strike, 0-1.
That's why I love our people in the truck. They don't miss anything.
McCann had a sacrifice in the third. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
So Graveman, he basically pitched around Tyler Collins to load the bases, and then he threw a wild pitch, and then the guy that he pitched around to get to was Castellanos, and he singles to drive in a couple.
How did the pitch around work out? not too good. 60 now the pitch count for Graveman. 1-2 is again low, and Vogt has to go down to block it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's given his catcher a workout here in the 4th. Waiting on deck, top of the order, Anthony Gose. Down the left field line. That's going to get down. Played by Zobrist. Castellanos goes to third. He will stop there. McCann has a double.
That is the 7th double of the year for the Tigers rookie catcher, James McCann. He went down and got himself a breaking ball. Castellanos hit that exact same pitch. It was 92, so he had to go the other way, but because of the speed of the breaking ball thrown by Graveman, McCann caught it out in front and doubled down the left field line.
7th double for McCann. And here comes the 8th man to bat in the inning. That'll be Anthony Gose. Tigers now have 3 runs on 5 hits. Ball 1 to Gose. Leon warming up the right-hander. This will be the 30th pitch of this half inning for Graveman. Gose for 2, reaching on a fielder's choice. Tried to bunt with runners at second and third his last time up. He taps out the foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gose now 1 for his last 16 after a stretch of a 347 clip over his previous 24 games, so he's cooled a bit. But he, like Castellanos, can come up with a clutch hit here. Two and 1. Brad Ausmus finally sees one of his offensive players come with a big hit, and that would be the 2-run single by Castellanos, which has highlighted a 3-run inning. And that seems like a plethora of runs for the way the Tigers offense has been scuffling. Meanwhile, Gose continues to battle here against Graveman. Anthony's done some of his best work here at home this year. 372. American Park. Whoa, how about that?
Pretty good.
Line foul. Left field side. 2-2. The count stays on Gose. Big game for the Tigers here tonight. Consider Sonny Gray is going tomorrow for the Athletics. Simon has, despite his walks, kept the A's off the board. 3-2 now on Gose. Melvin's team won 3 out of 4 from the Yankees prior to flying here to Detroit. Ground ball right side. Sogard goes to the grass and throws him out. Inning over. Big inning for the Tigers, though. They scored 3. Lowest tire price period, Bell Tire. Myers, save big with M-Perks from Myers. Sign up at mperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Back here at Comerica Park, Tigers have taken a 3-0 lead as we go to the top of the 5th inning here at the ball yard. And Nick Castellanos providing a 2-out, 2-run single. After a wild pitch, it scored a run. So Simon goes back to work in the 5th, and it's going to be Eric Sogard to lead it off, the number 9 hitter. Sogard looks at ball 1. He will be followed by Billy Burns and then Ben Zobrist. 5 walks tonight for Simon, the only base runners he has allowed. Will be low and inside, and the count goes 2-0. Sogard grounded 3 unassisted, his only at bat. A 2-0 pitch. And that's in there, 2-1. Sogard's got some big frames on those glasses.
Trying to make a fashion statement here tonight.
Apparently. Simon ready with the 2-1 pitch. Ground ball to first again. This one is a fair ball. Mickey, nice play.
Do it, Mickey.
1 up, 1 away.
Mickey has not made an error all year at first base. And he'll be the starting first baseman in Cincinnati at the All-Star game this year. If not, they ought not have an All-Star game.
Rick Hosmer is starting to gain on him.
Is he really?
Yeah, with the numbers. I mean, he's getting pretty close.
Well, the Kansas City Royals, they're voting a lot. And I mean, they are voting a lot. A lot of their position players are leading at their respective positions.
Ball 1 to Billy Burns. Strikeout, ground out for Burns. We'll show you just how close Hosmer has gotten in that voting for first base in the AL. Here you go.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, each over 2 million. Hosmer having a nice year, but he's not Miguel Cabrera.
And Hosmer definitely deserves to make the All-Star team.
It's a 2-0 pitch. Slice to left, base hit. Burns has a 1-out single, the first hit allowed by Simon tonight.
If you're Simon, you shouldn't concern yourself too much with Burns. More than likely, he is going to attempt to steal second base. He has that kind of speed. He stole 54 bags last year in the minors, and he stole a couple just a couple of days ago. So, stealing bags is part of his game. 184 steals in the bushes in 209 attempts. 88% success rate for Billy Burns.
He had 70 of those just 2 years ago in one single season in the minors. He'll draw and throw. Zobrist, a walk and a strikeout in this game. The A's do not get their first hit until the 5th inning tonight. Although they've had 5 walks and they left the bases loaded in the 4th. Ground ball to first. Miggy on the pick. Throws to second. There's 1. Relay. There's 2. Tigers turn a double play. 3-6-3. Miguel Cabrera with the backhanded play to start the double play. And Alfredo Salmon says thank you very much. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Tigers. Athletics, no runs, 1 hit. And Kendall Graveman goes back to the hill. As Iglesias bounces the first pitch right at Brett Laurie, who has picked up yet another assist. He's gotten Iglesias 3 times now. A ground ball to third. 1 away. That is 8 assists now for Brett Laurie down at third.
Yeah, Tigers batters are having a difficult time of staying back on that 2-seam fastball that Graveman is featuring here today to hit it the opposite way, with the exception of Castellanos. Miggy also went the other way with a base hit, as did Yohan Cespedes.
Two and 0 the count. Cabrera with a 4-game hit streak now and has been on base in 21 consecutive games. 2-1. Graveman pitched his college ball at Mississippi State University. Came into the season as the 6th best prospect in the A's system. Just a bit outside, and the count goes 3-1.
And congratulations to the Michigan girls softball team, who is playing in the College World Series.
They win tonight?
I'm not sure whether they won or not tonight, but they're in the World Series.
And they dropped the opener last night. Tough loss to Florida. But it's best 2 out of 3. 3-2 on Miguel Cabrera. High fly ball, right center field. Reddick is going back again to the warning track. 2 gone.
Here's our Comerica Bank game summary. Graveman walked the bases loaded when he walked Tyler Collins. Then he threw a wild pitch. That scored 1. And then just a beautiful piece of hitting by Nicholas Castellanos with 2 outs to drive in a couple more. So the Tigers lead here 3-0 over the Athletics.
We're going to be Yohan Cespedes. Nick C coming up with a big hit. Drill to center field. Base hit for Cespedes.
He is much more dangerous when he's not as pull happy as he has been on the past road trip, where his numbers really were not good for him. 2 hits today, 1 down the right field line, this one right back up the middle. Really nice plate appearance by Cespedes.
Yeah, and he's 5 for 12 now against his former team, the A's. It'll bring up Kinsler with 2 outs.
Oakland Athletics had 5 All-Stars last year, and 4 of them no longer with the team. Cespedes, Donaldson, Moss, and Norris.
That's a lot of talent. They lost a lot of power from last year's team, Cespedes included. Ball inside to Kinsler.
All 4 of those guys I mentioned, 20 homer potential.
Two 2-0.
Well, Ian's got himself in a friendly fastball count to hit in. He's been struggling lately with the bat. He's been dropped down to 5th in the Tigers' batting order. And he should get a pretty good fastball to hit right here.
Here's a 2-0. 3-0 on Ian Kinsler. That is in there. 3-1.
Kurt Young, pitching coach for the Athletics, on the phone. Michigan native, too. Was he from like Saginaw or something like that?
Yeah, went to Saginaw Valley. Kinsler hits this one in the air. Down the right field line and foul ground, and a running catch. Wow. Reddick's made a couple of really nice plays tonight.
visit, which was the first inning, Simon settled down to retire the next 10 batters. Then Simon got into a little bit of trouble in the fourth inning as well, and there's Jones. He's stomping out of the dugout again, and Simon went on to retire Simeon with runners in scoring position. So call of the game goes to Jeff Jones so far here this evening.
Nicely done. So the Tigers are up 3-0 as we go now to the top of the sixth inning. And Stephen Vogt leads it off. That's in there for a strike.
And no issues pitching to Stephen Vogt now with a 3-run spread. He can't beat you even if he does hit it out of the ballpark.
The 0-1. By the way, Kurt Young is from Saginaw. He played his college ball at CMU. We want to make sure we give the Chips their proper due.
He had a nice big league career, and he's been an outstanding pitching coach for the Oakland Athletics in a couple of tours of duty.
Bouncer to the right side. There is Kinsler. Vogt is out.
Kurt Young left the Oakland Athletics a few years back, and he went to Boston for just 1 year. And then everybody there was pretty much fired, but he had his job still waiting for him in Oakland.
We'll bring up Billy Butler. Billy is 0 for 2, ground out, fly out. Oh, 1.
Outstanding cut fastball here thrown by Simon. We've shown you a lot of fastballs today that have moved the other way. Two-seam variety, but this was a cut fastball at about 92 miles an hour.
Drill to left on a line. Straight, it's Cespedes who makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down here in the sixth. Reddick can fly out and a walk. So when you look at Alfredo Simon now, he's given up just 1 hit. Yes, he has 5 walks. He's been helped by a double play. And most importantly, has kept the A's off the board.
He's been effectively wild here tonight.
Good way to put it.
He's thrown 93 total pitches, and he has missed the strike zone with 46 of those. 47 strikes and 46 balls.
Oh my goodness. I mean, how many times do you see a 0 on the board with that breakdown?
Only when Simon's out there.
The 1-0 pitch. The 5 walks, by the way, is a season high for Alfredo. His career high is 6. And the 2-0. Grounded foul.
Mickey hugging that line at first base because Reddick is such a pull hitter. And nothing going to get past Mickey. Not where he was playing. It's almost like no doubles depth late in the game where you're hugging the line on both corners the way they play. Reddick on the right side of the infield.
High fly ball to left, right at Cespedes, and that's going to make it a 1-2-3 inning for Alfredo Simon. Still 3-0 Detroit. Twins a half-game lead over the Royals in the Central Division. Tigers came back 3.5 back. Royals not used to not being in first place. As J.D. Martinez leads it off, then Tyler Carlos, Nick Castellanos in the bottom of the 6th. Tigers got all 3 of their runs in the 4th, and so far it is held up. They've out-hit the Athletics 6-1. Ground out, fly out for J.D. Martinez. One ball, 2 strikes. Did that ball land to the Fields party down there?
It sure did, and Bruce's older brother caught it. They look just alike.
That's a pretty sweet play. Oh, they do, don't they?
And there's Bruce a couple rows below his brother. They've got about 3 rows of Fields family down there.
So there's Bruce in the gray.
Yep, and the brother is just a couple rows up who got that fly with the glasses.
Well, they do look alike.
He's holding on to that ball still. I cannot believe that.
He's put it in his pocket.
Yeah, he did. He put it in his pocket. And that's Julie Fields right there in the number 29 Stars jersey.
Now the Fields family very proud tonight.
Well, a lot of Daniel's friends and family, kids he went to high school with, also here tonight. Daniel not start, but he might get a chance to get into the game. But they weren't going to miss this moment.
It would be nice. There's Daniel. After a really good year this year.
There's his grandmother right there in the red jacket. They come out in full force here tonight.
Yeah, it'd be a big thrill if Daniel were to get in this ball game this evening.
Jordan Morgan used to play basketball at Michigan. He's here, and all the friends and former teammates and family members.
Jordan Morgan was a good player.
Yeah, he turned out to be a nice player at Michigan.
Nice career with the Wolverines.
He's a bright guy.
1 ball and no strikes on Nick Castellanos. 2 out, nobody on here in the 6th. It is 3-0 Detroit. Two 2-0. Nick drove in 2 with a single his last time up.
Bruce also told me that several of Daniel's coaches along the way are here, from high school to travel ball.
Pulled into left, base hit. Well, I'm glad to hear that because there are a lot of people along the way that have helped Daniel get to this point.
No doubt about that.
You know, those summer coaches, the high school coaches.
Not to mention Mom with that that taxi on top of her car, shelling the boys all around because Dad was always busy.
Well, she's at the top of that list. There's Mom Julie. So with 2 outs here is James McCann. Little chopper toward third. That is a foul ball. Laurie got rid of it anyway, just in case. Well, you can catch 4 games at Comerica Park with the new Detroit Tigers 4-pack. Choose 4 bobblehead giveaways, 4 fireworks nights, 4 weekday matinee games. All for as little as $73. That's it. 313-471-2255 is your phone number, or tigers.com. The Tiger 4-packs. Check it out. The 0-1. Bottom 3 in the Tigers lineup getting it done tonight. 4 for 5, couple of walks, couple of RBIs. Can got a piece of that breaking ball, fouled it back.
He had a really good breaking ball to hit there. It was hanging and thrown by Graveman. You get a sense why he does not throw his off-speed pitches very often. He's more fastball cutter happy than he is with his changeup or his curveball, although he will throw quite a few changeups to the lefties.
Got a ball loose, it appears, out in center field that Burns is going to have to run down.
That's no problem for Billy Burns. He can run.
Leon's still warming up as Graveman's pitch count now has reached 95. And they go 2. 1-2 on McCann. A's starting pitching in the last 9 games has an ERA just a little over 1.5.
They've been pitching.
He pitched well against the Tigers, pitched well against the Yankees. The base hit to center. So McCann with his second hit of the game.
Tigers hitters. Castellanos has gone down to the bottom of the strike zone and gotten him a good fastball earlier, and then it's McCann that does it again. Second time he's gone to the bottom of the zone and barreled up something.
That'll bring up Anthony Gose with a 2-out chance. Gose 0 for 3. Ball 1. It'll be the 8th hit of the game the Tigers have now. Really not a whole lot shaken in this game until the 4th when the Tigers got 3. Now they threaten again. Little bouncer towards short. Going to be a tough play for Semien. Quick throw. In time for the out. I'm sure they're going to take a look at that. That was close. The A's are running off the field, but Brad Ausmus says hold everything.
It's a nice play by Semien. And surrounding that ball and throwing accurately across the diamond to Muncy. And to apparently get Gose before he gets his foot on the bag.
Looks like a good call. He's out at first base. Three of your friends. Upload 2 baseball-themed photos of yourself at foxsports.com/fantastic all-star. Well, Mr. Simon goes back to the hill in the 7th inning. Got a 1-2-3 in the 6th.
He desperately needed that 1-2-3 inning. His pitch count's at 96 as we speak. He's probably got just one more inning in him.
It'll be Laurie, Muncy, and Semien here in the top of the 7th. Brett Laurie is 0 for 1, strikeout and walk. He pops a bunt up back into the seats. Action in the Tigers bullpen. The pitch count up for Simon. That is Angel Nesbitt, the right-hander. Blaine Hardy the left-hander.
That's been a pretty nice combination for Brett Ausmus late in the game. Joplin usually gets the 8th and Soria the 9th.
Mentioned this a lot. Isn't it funny though how everything just kind of falls in place when you've got that one guy at the back end?
For sure.
That has been Soria this year, who has anchored the closer spot. Bender missing inside, 1-1. Done a great job, Soria has, in the stead of Joe Nathan, who is done for the year, had Tommy John surgery. Here's Simon's 1-1.
Here's our high-speed pitch on Alfredo Simon, and as always, it is brought to you by Xfinity. 94 top fastball tonight against the Athletics, and 57 with one of those eephus and split-fingered fastballs that he will throw at least 2-3 times every time he's towing the rubber.
So now that Simon has reached 100, what has he done by inning? You see that 34 pitch fork. 34, and he did not allow a run in that inning.
Left the bases loaded in the 4th.
Laurie hits one down the left field line. Cespedes on the move. He'll play it on one hop. Brett Laurie has a leadoff single here in the 7th. Only the second hit tonight for the Athletics. I'll bring up Max Muncy. Simon working against the bottom of the Athletics lineup here. Muncy is 0 for 1 with a walk.
If you weren't with us earlier, we told you that Simon had last pitched 10 days ago against the Houston Astros. He threw 111 pitches in that game. That's the most he's thrown this year in any game.
Muncy lifting that ball in the air. Ghost gets behind it. Runner tags but holds.
And wisely holds, because he's got a gun out in center field, Anthony Ghost. And he just showed it off. The one thing I admire about Ghost is in all those situations, like just presented itself when there's a runner on third, he gets behind every ball and he anticipates that that base runner is going to try to steal. Look how he gets behind that ball. He gets his momentum carrying him back toward the play, and he throws a strike to Ian Kinsler.
He's telling his former teammate in Toronto,
How about that?
He had a little fun with Laurie.
Oh, Ghost getting cocky out there now.
Had a little Matumbo in him.
Although that index finger of Matumbo, that was long one.
Yeah, it was.
Way up in the air.
Anthony playing with a little bit of flair in this one tonight. Strike called on Marcus Semien. Semien is 0 for 2 strikeout, fly out in the 4th inning.
When the Tigers were in Oakland last week, he was batting up in the batting order. Now he's batting down in the 8th spot.
Well, perhaps the fact that he was batting $175 over his last 11 games.
That's a good point. And Billy Butler's done well, who's leading off right now.
No balls, 1 strike. Semien's problem this year, by and large, has not been with the bat. It's been with the glove. He's committed 18 errors, which is more than any other shortstop in the major league. But he's hit 6 home runs this season. Bends away from a strike 0-2. Upper reaches of the strike zone. Rodriguez now has joined Leon in the bullpen for the Athletics. Bouncing, McCann going to try and throw him out. They'll go into shallow center field. The runner is safe. So move Lowry up to second base. Wild pitch advances Laurie.
And McCann could not keep this one in front of him. And it's a good break and a good jump by Laurie, who was anticipating that one of those split-fingered fastballs would bounce here tonight that Simon throws also frequently.
And we'll see if the A's can get him in. Semien waiting on a 1-2. Ground ball left side. Iglesias shovels it to third, but Castellanos can't handle it. They had him out at third base, but Nick could not hold on to it. Iglesias with a flashy shovel to third.
And Laurie really didn't have to run here. He basically and almost ran himself into an out. If Castellanos is able to pick it on the flip from Iglesias and apply the tag, Laurie runs himself into the third out of the inning. Second out of the inning, excuse me.
And Iglesias might have had another step to kind of set himself and make a stronger throw. But he got it to him as quickly as he could, and we'll have runners at first and third. So now the tying run will come to the plate. That's a base hit for Semien. Eric Sogard, a couple of ground balls, 0 for 2. Fouled away 0-1. This seventh inning was the first inning that the Athletics were able to get the leadoff man on. They have now gotten him to third base. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It is high, 1-1 on Sogard.
It's one of the things that Simon does also well. He will show you the fastball upstairs at about 93. And then the next pitch, he will simply go back down to the bottom of the strike zone to change the eye level with one of those splitters.
Simon now just 3 shy of his season high in total pitches. He's done 111 twice. Alfredo's been able to pitch around some walks in this one, a total of 5. However, he has some trouble to deal with here in the 7th. Runner goes from first base, and it's hit toward Kinsler. Great play. He's going to throw it home, but the runner not coming, and the bases are loaded. Kinsler had the out at first base, but threw home. Not sure I've seen that before. They're loaded up now.
Runner on the move. And Laurie pretty much was standing close to the bag. Ian must have just anticipated that Laurie was going to try to score, and he should have got the out. You saw Iglesias pointing toward first base, but apparently Ian not paying much attention to Iglesias.
So now they're loaded up, and here is Billy Burns, the top of the order. Fielder's choice, the ruling on that last ground ball. Burns shoots one back up the middle into center field. That's a base hit. Ghost comes up with it. They're going to score just 1 run on the play, and now it's 3-1.
And Brad might have to go get Simon here now.
Yep, you're absolutely right. That's going to be it for Alfredo Simon, an RBI for Burns. We've got a Wallside Windows pitching change coming up, with Ben Zobrist due up. And the Athletics threatening here. They've got a run on the board. Will step aside. 3-1 Detroit. 3-run game. And that'll be it for Alfredo Simon. He's done for the night. He will give way to the right-hander Angel Nesbitt.
Only 5 of the 19 inherited base runners this year by Angel have scored, and he's got 3 more out there that he needs to strand for his starter tonight, Alfredo Simon.
So Ben Zobrist will step in now. He knocked into a double play his last time up.
And Nesbitt has a fastball that will top out at about 96 miles an hour. He's got a nice little slider. 2-seamer as well that he worked on in spring training. Starting to get more and more comfortable with that pitch. And be careful on the first pitch fastball if you decide to throw that to Zobrist.
So Brand decides to go with the right-hander here with the lefty Zobrist up with the bases loaded. Zobrist rips one foul to first base. No balls, 1 strike. Now Jama has joined Hardy. Hardy had been warming up. Here's the 0-1. Drill to right field. Martinez on the move, going to turn on it. And that ball is gone. A line drive home run for Ben Zobrist. That's a grand slam.
Man, oh man.
And the A's have taken their first lead of the game. 5-3. Boy, did that ball get out in a hurry.
Looked like a little 2-seam fastball that crept right over the heart of the dish. And a little short, quick, compact swing taken by Zobrist. Line drive fashion just snuck over in the Eastern Michigan University sign.
So Zobrist hits his 2nd of the year. It's a huge one here. His 6th career grand slam. He's got 6 of those already. And it's 5-3 in favor of the A's. Simon's outing goes for naught. There's a ball inside to Stephen Vogt. That's rolled foul, and the count on Vogt now is 1-2.
Second grand slam Tigers pitching has given up in the last 4 or 5 games. Chris Iannetta of the Los Angeles Angels hit a grand slam in, I believe it was that first game of the 4-game series out west against the Halo.
It was. Swing and a miss. And Vogt is dusted. 2 gone.
Little kid caught the baseball and he was kind of happy about catching that ball, but then he realized that it was a grand slam that was given up, and he's like, no.
Oh, what a great reaction. From a great catch to realizing it was a slam. That thing was coming in hot, too.
He caught it.
Butler grounds it foul.
A couple of miscues here by the Tigers in this particular inning.
The guy's upset about the grand slam.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I don't know if I want it. Okay, I'll keep it.
It's too bad, little fella. Something will be all right.
The 0-1. Butler looks at the ball inside. Well, he made a great play on the ball. But he's upset. His Tigers are behind. 5-3 in favor of the A's.
Well, they just have to come back for that little fella.
Here's the 8th man to bat in the inning. It's Butler with a count of 2-1. Fly ball down the right field line, to the corner it goes. And back out of play.
It's a wild pitch here that Lowry's able to get to third base on it. Then you have the one play here that Castellanos probably should have picked that ball. They would have gotten it out at third. And then Kinsler, he throws the ball home and not to first base. So they pretty much extended the inning for the A's here. And the A's were able to capitalize.
Two really big plays. Here's the 2-2. Butler hammers one back up the middle into center.
And now the A's, they've got their hitting shoes on.
So this will be the 9th man to come up as they bat around here in the 7th. A's have put up 5 here in the 7th inning, and that is their 6th hit as well. Josh Reddick is 0 for 2. Foul back out of play, 0-1. Again, the A's did not put the leadoff man on until a single by Laurie here in the 7th. Burns knocked one in with a base hit, and Zobrist hit a grand slam.
6th grand slam of Ben Zobrist's major league career.
Iglesias on a dead sprint. He can't get there, though. Back out of play. 0-2. Well, we mentioned the A's came in having won 3 of 4 from the Yankees. They were a hot team. Simon slowed them down, but the Athletics able to get to the bullpen here in the 7th. Nesbitt surrendering the slam. Here's the 0-2. It's going to buckle Chad Fairchild behind the plate. Kevin Rand's going to come out to take care of Fairchild to make sure he's okay. The rest of the umpiring crew coming in as well. Make sure Fairchild is all right. Kevin Rand running through some questions apparently right now. Fairchild looks a little bit dazed.
He does.
Chad even said wow after he took that last direct hit. That has rung his bell a little bit. We'll see if it's enough to knock him out of the game.
Kevin Rand, the head athletic trainer for the Tigers, not convinced that Fairchild's okay. At least not yet.
We'll see if Fairchild continues in this game. This is a pretty lengthy conversation here between Kevin and Fairchild. Yeah, as you say, Ron, I'm not convinced that he thinks Fairchild's okay. I think Fairchild's trying to stay in this game. You know, we know when a player goes through this, the trainer can come out and say, you know what, you're not staying in the game. I'm not sure he has that same authority with the umpires. And he's going to stay. Jim Joyce was the crew chief. He came in to make sure that Fairchild was all right. Meanwhile, Nesbitt will get a couple of warm-up pitches after the delay. 0-2 is the count. Here's the 0-2. Ball high, 1-2. Five runs, 6 hits for the A's. 3 runs, 8 hits for the Tigers. That's in the air. Shallow right field. Kinsler is back. Dean will go out there to make the catch. And the inning's over. Big inning, though. 5 runs for the Athletics. Coming up, 7th inning stretch brought to you by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The Rangers take on the Royals, and it's baseball night in America with an AL Central showdown. Tigers facing the White Sox. Coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. Well, there is some work to be done now, and they will try and get it done against a new right-hander coming out of the bullpen for the Athletics. In the wall-side windows pitching change, it is Evan Scribner.
And Scribner's got a pretty good arm. And majority of his pitches are fastballs, 53% of those. He has a curveball. He'll sink the fastball. Also throws a slider and a changeup. Not any sliders to the right-handers, but he will throw quite a few to the left-handers.
So Graveman goes the first 6. Scribner will take over. And we'll see how he does against the meaty part of the Tigers lineup. Iglesias, Cabrera, Cespedes. And if anybody gets on, Kinsler. Grand slam by Ben Zobrist has given the Athletics their first lead of the night. Iglesias has bounced 3 times to Brett Laurie at third. Iglesias shows bunt. There's a strike right at the knees. East bullpen in the last 23 has been much better than they were to start this season. Their ERA 3.48 over that span, which is about half of what it was before that stretch. There's another ground ball to Laurie. That is the 4th time that Iglesias has grounded to him. 1 gone in the 7th. Now Cabrera. Scribner's gone 4 straight scoreless outings, but he's got the big fella to deal with here. Cabrera singled in 3 at-bats plus a run scored. He'll get back out of play 0-1.
And Graveman threw 11 ground ball outs
in the 6 innings that he pitched. He stands to be the winner if the score stays the same. And then Scribner comes in and he throws one ground ball out to the only hitter he's faced so far.
Albuquerque in the Detroit bullpen. Awkward swing by Miggy, 0-2.
Yeah, not often you see Miggy take a swing like that, but he was fooled by the breaking ball of Scribner. He throws that breaking ball about 31% of the time to right-handed batters. A heavy dose of breaking balls thrown by Scribner.
Swing and a miss. He got Cabrera to leave the strike zone. 2 gone.
We're going to make it our Bill Tire pitch by pitch. First pitch foul ball. Next pitch breaking ball. Awkward swing by Miggy, and then he changes the eye level of Miguel Cabrera to get him to swing through a fastball upstairs.
Here is Cespedes. Yoenis had a big night, 2 singles, run scored. One thing the Tigers do have going for them tonight is the A's really have not been good in close games. They're 3-15 in 1-run games, 4-22 in 2-run games. It's the worst in the majors. 0-2 on Cespedes. The Tigers have done all of their scoring in the 4th. They got 3 runs in that frame. Here's the 0-2.
Told you Scribner throws a lot of those breaking balls. If he throws one here and he hangs it, Cespedes might just homer for the 8th time of the year.
Ground ball to short instead. Semien, nice pick. His throw a little bit up the line, but he hung on to first. 1-2-3 inning. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. And by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Have you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy lately? Nighttime settling in here at the ballpark. The Tigers stunningly are behind in this game. 5-3 grand slam off the bat of Ben Zobrist has put the Tigers behind. Al Albuquerque is on now for Detroit.
Al has pitched some pretty good baseball in his last 13 outings. He's only given up 1 run. The ERA is .064 in that span. And he's striking out a lot of batters again with a really good slider. He's found that good arm slot. He's got some really nice downward break on his slider these days.
So Albuquerque goes to work here in the 8th. Brett Laurie leads it off. And he looks at ball 1. Laurie in this game got things started back in the fateful 7th with a single. And before it was over, they scored 5 runs. One ball, one strike on Brett Lawrie. Max Muncy, Marcus Semien to follow. Bouncer back up the middle into center field, base hit.
All of a sudden, the bats of the A's have woken up here in the last couple of innings.
Yeah, they didn't get a hit until the 5th inning tonight off Simon.
His second consecutive inning that Brett Lawrie leading off with a single.
They had only 1 hit through the first 6 innings of play, and now they have 7. Max Muncy standing in. Muncy has a walk to his credit tonight, otherwise fly out strikeout. Strike 1 on Muncy. Muncy last year in the Texas League AA led the league in walks. He also led the league in on-base percentage, which has been a big stat associated with the A's over the years.
Yeah, they were paying attention to some numbers before. A lot of teams were paying attention to some of the WAR numbers that a lot of people go by these days. They used to have a minor league system where if you didn't walk a certain amount of times during the course of the year, you wouldn't advance to the next level. I mean, you had to take a lot of pitches in the minor leagues with the A's just a few years back.
Muncy goes down swinging, 1 out.
And they really took a tremendous amount of pride in working counts and getting themselves in good counts to hit in and getting pitch counts up. Now everybody's kind of caught up in those numbers.
Yeah, advanced metrics have taken over many of the front offices, if not most, or all of them in the major leagues. Some to varying degrees, of course. Semien had a single, scored a run in the 7th. Looks at ball 1 away from Albuquerque.
Tigers have dropped 4 straight. Haven't dropped 5 straight all year.
Fly ball right field, hit pretty good. J.D. Martinez right to the wall to make the catch. And Lawrie retreats. 2 gone for Eric Sogard. Tiger bullpen, despite giving up the grand slam in this ball game tonight, they came in with a pretty good ERA, 2.90, which was 3rd best in the American League. Jeff Jones on the phone again. And Sogard looks at ball 1. The 2 best bullpens, at least numbers wise, ERA wise, were KC and Houston coming in. We saw what that Houston bullpen could do on the last homestand here in Detroit.
Yeah, really no surprise what Kansas City has done. I mean, their bullpen has been good for the last 2 years, but Houston surprising a lot of teams in a lot of different ways.
That'll drop in for a strike, 1-1. Sogard reaching on a fielder's choice and scoring back in the 7th. Pop this one up. Will it stay in play? Miggy back toward the seats. Out of play. One and two the count. For Zalani, the lefty, warming up. Nesbitt came on in the 7th and replacing Alfredo Simon, and now Albuquerque here in the 8th. That's popped up. This one looks like it'll stay in play. Kinsler coming over. And Ian hauls it in. That'll take care of the inning. No runs, a hit. We go to the bottom of the 8th. With MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat on your smartphone or your tablet. And Andy Perino is taking over at short for Marcus Semien.
Perino is an outstanding defender. Doesn't hit a whole lot, but he can really catch that baseball. And if you weren't with us earlier, we told you that of the 52 miscues the A's have committed this year, their shortstop Semien had 18 of those. So Bob Melvin now replacing him with the defensive replacement.
Well, here is Kinsler. He'll be followed by J.D. Martinez and Tyler Collins. Those are the hitters due against Evan Scribner, who had a 1-2-3-7. 2 balls, no strikes. Fly out, pop up for Mr. Kinsler. Shoots that one foul back out of play, 2-1. 5 runs, 7 hits for the Athletics, 3 runs, 8 hits for the Tigers. Drill to center field. Ball hit well. Bird's going back. Still going back to the warning track. It dies in his glove.
Yeah, first time playing center field in this ballpark for Burns. He ran back there. Then he was looking for the wall. Yeah, but he must have forgot he had 420 behind him.
It's very unforgiving, at least for the hitter. That'll bring up J.D. Martinez. Old Tiger Stadium was 440 to dead center.
Yes, it was.
Add another 20 feet to what we have here. 0-1 on J.D. Got a final score from the Women's College Softball World Series. Michigan defeated Florida 1-0. And that will force a Game 3 tomorrow night for the championship.
I think the Michigan girls softball team had reeled off 28 consecutive wins before they lost yesterday.
Well, good luck to the Michigan women tomorrow night. There's a strike called and JD is out of there. 2 gone.
Menards brings you the big money encounter. Tigers hitters 7 through 9 tonight, getting it done at 5 for 6 with a double, a couple of walks. They've driven in 2 and scored 1 run.
A lot of production from 7, 8, 9. And right now it hadn't been enough. They're down by 2, 5-3. Scribner missing outside to Tyler Collins.
He loves that breaking ball, does Scribner. To the left-handers and to the right-handers. He throws it about 30% of the time.
1-1. Tigers do have Joakim Soria up in their bullpen.
He might need to get into a game because he hasn't been in one in a while.
Yeah, good point. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Chop foul. 1-2.
Last time Soria pitched, I believe, was the final day of the Oakland series.
Yeah, the 27th at Oakland. Struck out 2, got the save. Ooh, that was close. 2-2 on Tyler Collins. Should Tyler reach? Castellanos waiting on deck. Ground ball to first. Down to a knee is Muncy. It's going to be a 1-2-3 inning. 6 up, 6 down against Scribner. Letting a 5-run 7th, and now it's Joakim Soria taking over out of the Detroit bullpen.
Hey, one of those nights where Brad had to get Soria in a ball game. He did not pitch in the 4-game series in Los Angeles. He's been in 22 games prior to tonight's outing. He's been outstanding in the save and save department, converting 15 of 16.
Soria going to deal with the top of the lineup. It'll be speed Billy Burns leading it off. Billy singled in a run back in the 7th.
I told you earlier that Burns tops all rookies with 12 multi-hit games this year. And he's had multi-hit games in his last 4 consecutive games, looking to do it again.
He's got a .333 batting average right now. Soria missing inside 1-1 on Burns.
Check that, he's already done it. So 5 consecutive multi-hit games now for the new leadoff hitter.
He got a base hit in the 5th.
Yep.
Flails away at that pitch, 1-2. Tyler Clippard, the closer right now, at least for the A's, warming up. Check it. I believe he went, and he did not, says Greg Gibson. Soria now with the 2-2. Chopper foul. Here's Clippard. Scribner gave them 2 really good innings.
Yes, he did.
1-2-3-7 and 1-2-3-8. Two and 2 on Billy Burns. He's frozen for strike 3. 1 out.
Let's take a look at the Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. Zobrist connected for his 6th grand slam of his major league career back in the 7th against Angel Nesbitt.
So Zobrist stands in, this time with the bases empty, and he drills one toward right center field. Ghost on the run, stretching out, Anthony Ghost, what a play! Oh man! Ghost had a beat on that ball and just sold out with a great play.
He gets tremendous jumps in center field, and he takes a beeline toward this ball in the right center field gap and able to leave his feet and take a possible double, triple away from Zobrist, and that's our Chevrolet high-strength steel turned in by Anthony Ghost.
Well, you're not kidding. That ball gets to the wall. It might be a triple, at least a double, and there are 2 outs instead. Strike called on Vogt.
Anthony Ghost plays about as shallow a center field as any center fielder in our sport, but he has the ability to still run into the gaps and make really good plays.
0-2. Well, hopefully that play turns out to be a big one if the Tigers can get the bats going in the 9th inning.
Yeah, they pretty much have kept Vogt quiet here tonight, but the Athletics bats really haven't needed him.
Now the 0-2. Down the left field line, slicing away from Cespedes out of play. Tigers in the bottom of the 9th will have Castellanos, McCann, and Ghost due up. One and 2 on Vogt. A's lead, run the 9th. 2 out, nobody on for Oakland. The 1-2. Bouncing ball right side. Kinsler cuts it off. It'll be a 1-2-3 for Soria, thanks to Anthony Ghost. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th. Probably going to have their work cut out for him.
Yeah, Sonny Gray's a really good pitcher. He's made an all-star team, checks in with 6 wins, 2 losses. I was encouraged by the outing of Sanchez the last time he was out there against the Angels, even though he didn't get the win. He pitched well in the game.
That'll be game 2 in this series. In the meantime, we're trying to settle game 1 here. Tyler Clippard will come on for the Athletics.
And nice strikeouts to walks ratio for him. It's a high one, 13 base on balls. So if you're the Tigers, that may be one of the ways that you can get a runner or 2 on base. Make Clippard throw the ball over the plate. Don't help him out. He has a 2.42 ERA, and he's converted 7 of 8 saves so far this season.
Tigers need to get a couple of base runners on to get Cabrera up there. And right now, we'll send it down to Trevor Thompson.
Well, Mario, obviously the Tigers need a couple of runs. Otherwise, we're talking about a loss in the postgame in that disastrous 7th inning. I know you want to hear all about that, but still 3 more outs to go to get a couple of runs. Let's see what happens. Back up to you.
All right, T, thanks. In the meantime, here we go in the bottom of the 9th. Castellanos leads it off. And Nick looks at ball 1 high. Nick has 2 hits in this game. He has 2 RBIs. He's also walked. On base 3 times. Tigers need him to get on base here in the 9th inning. Foul that one back out of play. 1-1.
If Nick Castellanos does reach, more than likely, they'll pitch run for him. It could be Romine. It could be Daniel Fields.
Rally cap's going. Rally sunglasses too.
I don't think I've ever seen the glasses turned upside down. That's a new one.
It's a first for me too. See if it works.
Hope it works.
The A's have Sean Doolittle on the DL. They've got a lot of guys on the DL. Coco Crisp.
Doolittle's going back on the DL?
Yep, back on the DL. Jared Parker, Drew Pomerantz also on the disabled list.
Doolittle just came off the DL when we were in Oakland last week.
Yeah, and went right back on after his appearance against the Tigers. 2-2. So now you've got a couple of rally caps and sunglasses. The guy in the middle's like, no, that's just not my look.
He's too cool for it.
Rally visor.
Whatever it takes.
Slow roller hit toward third. The shortstop instead. That is a tough play and an out at first base by Perino. Great play.
Oh, he can pick it now. And that's the word on the street regarding Perino. Anything hit in his direction, he's a slick fielding infield. He grabs it with the glove, quick exchange, and flips underneath, but accurately and firm to Muncy.
Nick out by a step. 7 straight retired by the Oakland bullpen in this game. Here is James McCann. Ball 1.
Oakland came into this game tonight 13 games under 500, and they're really feeling good about the way they've played lately. They've won 6 of their last 9. And on this current road trip that they just started here in Michigan, it starts here and then it goes to Boston, and they kind of feel like they can make up some ground because the Tigers and the Boston Red Sox not particularly playing good baseball right now.
Not who you play when you play.
Right.
That's the one thing Leland always used to say. Here's the 1-1. 1-2 on McCann. James had a pretty good night. He's had a sacrifice, a double, and a single. Ghosts waiting on deck. Now Clippard with the 1-2. Into the glove for strike 3 in the foul tip. 2 gone. 8 in a row retired by their bullpen. Well, got to get Ghosts on here. If they have any hope. Anthony's average down to 306 now with his 0 for 4 tonight. There's ball 1 to Ghosts. Graveman, the starter, went 6 in this ball game tonight. That's in there, a strike. Here's the 1-1 to Anthony Gose. Now 1-2. Iglesias hoping he gets a chance. Tigers not home for very long. They've got this 3-game series against the A's. Then it's to Chicago this weekend. Here's the 1-2. Gose swings and misses. And the Athletics, courtesy of a 5-run 7th inning comeback to beat the Tigers 5-3.
Tigers have now dropped 5 games in a row.
We'll be back with more from Comerica as the A's celebrate tonight.